Am I the a-hole for moving back home after my husband left me even though I'm pregnant? I've been getting cruel messages from my ex, his family, and our friends for the past few days. My soon-to-be ex-husband Levi, 33 male, and I, 28 female, have been together for a decade, married for 5 years. I'm currently pregnant with our first baby and due next month. After I graduated, I moved back to his hometown, a major city on the West Coast, with him. I'm from a bigger city in the Midwest, but I loved living out there. I thought we were happy. We planned our baby and were so excited. But a few weeks ago, he told me he was going to file for divorce. He said he didn't want to be tied down anymore, that he was still young and needed to live his life, etc. He said there was nobody else, but I know since then he's been seeing someone. He wanted me to move out, but this is my house too. I even put down the down payment, so he's been staying with his friend Louis. I can't afford to live here on my own while maintaining my lifestyle. Sure, I could make it work, but it wouldn't be the kind of lifestyle I'd want to live, especially with a baby. I make really good money, but it's so expensive. I have friends for sure, but not the support system he does. No family here. So I've decided to move back home, and luckily my company has a location in my hometown, so I was able to keep my job. My parents have been so supportive. They're divorced and hate one another, but are now combined in their hatred of Levi, which is interesting to see. They've secured me a nice rental home in my city and refuse to let me pay them back, saying I need to save to buy my next house. They're paying for my divorce lawyer and my co-pays at my new doctor here. They've said I'm doing the right thing for my baby and are happy to help. My mom is about to retire and even wants to watch my baby while I work after my maternity leave. So it's been an ideal situation for me. Levi is furious. He's claiming that I moved to get back at him and that I'm going to try to keep him out of our baby's life. I explained very clearly that I couldn't afford to be a single mom in San Diego, but he doesn't believe me. He's told everyone I moved back to get the upper hand on custody. That's not why I moved, but it's definitely a plus. His job doesn't have any locations here, and they won't keep him if he moves. He could get another job here, of course, but he says that's too much to ask of him. I told him I'd be going for child support once the baby's born, and he told me I needed to make up my mind. Could he be a dad or not? I told him he was going to be a dad regardless, and if he doesn't want to move here, then he will be a dad by paying child support. I don't think I'm the a-hole. I think I'm doing what I have to do, but I don't know what I'm supposed to say to all these people texting and calling me and telling me I'm keeping Levi's baby from him. Now for the top comments. First off, congratulations on your baby. Second, don't respond to those stupid texts. You can block those numbers. If he sends any hateful texts, especially now with the baby, you can save those and use it in court if he ever tries to go after you. What you need is a peaceful time before delivery and stress-free postpartum lifestyle. And go for child support. He's the one who wanted to leave for a free lifestyle. Now he's got it. Oh, I'm going for full child support, don't worry, LOL. It would be one thing if this was a one-night stand thing, but we planned our baby, and he's not getting out of supporting it. You did the right thing. He wanted his freedom. Now he has it. He's probably pissed that you're not begging him to stay. Good for you, sweetheart. I'm proud of you. And your parents rock. Not the a-hole. More than likely, the ones bugging you don't know the truth of the situation. I mean, they know he is divorcing me, but they think I'm being petty, and I should just scale back my lifestyle so I can afford to stay in California. Why should I scale back my hobbies, travel and savings, just to convenience him? You screwed up his plans. He wanted to be with his girlfriend and have you nearby doing all the work raising the baby, so he could visit only when he feels like it. You take care of you. His anger over not getting everything he wants after abandoning you is his problem to deal with. Don't respond to any of those calls or texts. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I just feel so lied to. Next story. I refuse to let my son come home after his girlfriend dumped him. I, 55 male, refused to let my 33-year-old son move back in after his girlfriend broke up with him. As much as it hurt to say no, I knew from experience what would happen if I allowed it. He's brought chaos everywhere he's lived, and no matter how many chances he's had, he's never taken responsibility for his actions. My daughter, her husband, and my grandson already live with me, and I genuinely enjoy having them here. They contribute, help with chores, and make my home feel warm and full of life. But the thought of my son moving in, making demands, avoiding responsibility, and falling back into old habits was too much for me to bear. For years, I've told him he needed to get his life together. I tried to give him guidance, support, and even resources to do better. Instead, he chose to spend his time smoking pot and playing Xbox, avoiding work and responsibility. Always found someone to blame when things didn't go his way, and it was exhausting. His girlfriend leaving him was inevitable, but instead of seeing it as a chance to change, he immediately turned to me, expecting to be rescued again. No parent wants to hear about their kid going homeless, and I did feel a deep sense of guilt. But I also knew that if I opened my door, the same cycle would repeat: fighting, tension, financial strain, and me walking on eggshells in my own house. So I told him as gently but firmly as I could that it was time he grew up, got clean, and found a way to support himself. I reminded him that at 33, it was no longer my job to shield him from the consequences of his choices. I felt awful telling him no, but I can't keep enabling him. Sometimes love means drawing boundaries, and this was one of those times. He no longer speaks to me, and while that stings, I'll admit I have zero problems with the peace that has come without his chaos. To his credit, he did eventually find a job and a place to stay, which honestly gave me some relief. Still, I often wonder if I was an a-hole for not stepping in when he needed me. Edit: I want to be clear that I love my son deeply. He was my oldest and my constant companion for years. But when he started high school, everything changed, and I've been trying to reach the boy I once knew ever since. Not the a-hole. The time had to come where you put yourself first, but you didn't actually do that. You didn't put your daughter and her husband first either. You put your grandson first. You didn't want your son to influence him. You protected him. That was clearly a hard choice for you, but you know that it was the right choice. Your son has benefited from your decision. He has a job, and as a result of that, he has a home. Him not speaking to you is his resentment that you didn't make everything easy for him. He might never see that your actions gave him his independence. You can see it, and you can see that you did the right thing for everyone involved. Relax. You're good here. Thank you. I think this is what I needed to hear. My mom stopped letting her addict son stay over when she ended up with custody of his toddler. Before that, he was in and out a lot, but it was neither safe or healthy for him to be around. He had supervised visits and didn't really show up ever, even though he just had to call his mom and say he wanted to see his kid. For what it's worth, he did understand ultimately that his mom had made the right call, because it's the same one he knows he would have made too now that he's clean. I'm sure you'll never understand why your daughter and family are so welcome. They've been here for 8 years and came when I needed help and they needed help, and it worked out great for all of us. I was a free babysitter. He's my grandson and I never really considered it babysitting. And they helped around the house and relieved me of some financial stress I was going through. I am in such a better place financially now and have slowly been taking bills back from them. He would have never contributed anything but misery. Even with all that being said, your comment is 100% correct. Next story. Am I the a-hole for letting my niece have fun when she lives with me after the cruel stuff she wrote and said to her stepmother? In June of this year, my 15-year-old niece Abby came to live with me, 28 male, and I became her legal guardian. My brother is her father. Abby's mom died when she was 9, and my brother remarried when she was 11. Abby was never very happy about my brother's remarriage or my sister-in-law. It was clear to everyone, and mostly she just ignored her stepmother. But there were outbursts here and there when her stepmother tried to parent her. Sister-in-law's birthday is in May, and my brother threw her a family party birthday dinner. Abby was asked to write her a card and give it to her with a gift my brother bought for sister-in-law on Abby's behalf. I can't remember word for word what Abby wrote and said, but to summarize, she told sister-in-law she hated her, that she never wanted her to marry her dad, and that she wasn't as good as her mom. She called sister-in-law ugly, said her mom was prettier, and that her mom was a better cook than sister-in-law. She brought up compliments her mom used to get on her cooking. She said a million sisters-in-law would not be worth even half of her mom. She said she was glad sister-in-law and my brother could not have kids, and that she hoped every day that sister-in-law would never get to stay pregnant. There were also insults about sister-in-law's sense of style and how ugly the things were that she brought into the house. She called sister-in-law an outsider, brought up her mom being the love of my brother's life and not sister-in-law, and she mentioned several times that she would never love her, accept her, or want her around, and how happy she'd be if they divorced. There were attempts made to stop Abby, but she told her dad she'd finish since she was forced to give sister-in-law anything at all. Then my brother tried making her apologize. He put her on a waiting list for therapy and punished her, tried talking to her, and tried using therapy books to get an apology or regret out of her. But when nothing came in the first month, he said someone else needed to take her in because sister-in-law being around Abby was not good after all the things she said. My significant other and I offered, as long as guardianship was given to us if this was more than a week or two deal, which it was always planned to be. Since moving in with us, Abby has started therapy. She hasn't apologized or expressed regret. She has not wanted to see sister-in-law and has actually said she's happy to no longer live with her. She has seen my brother 1 to 2 times most weeks. Now he's grumbling that Abby isn't restricted from having fun and living her life, that we let her spend time with friends, go to the movies, and do other things teens want to do. He told me she should be on full grounding until she apologizes, and especially now that she got her way and isn't around sister-in-law anymore. He said he felt it was a given, and I told him he said nothing about that, only that she needed to be in therapy, and she is. And I told him the therapist said she could be grounded for 20 years, if that were even possible, and it still wouldn't get him what he wants. He said she doesn't deserve to have a fun life, and that I should agree with that. Am I the a-hole? He said she doesn't deserve to have a fun life and I should agree with that. Wow, that is his daughter he's talking about. His daughter. The fact that he steamrolled his new wife into the family and tried to make a new instant family is ridiculous. He deserves everything that happens in his miserable life. His daughter, on the other hand, is receiving appropriate support to help her deal with her mother's passing and the complex emotions she's experiencing. You and your wife are not the a-hole. In fact, you are as not the a-hole as it's possible to be. Bro can kick rocks, pound sand, or whatever other phrase you want to use to tell him to F off. When asked about writing the card, did she say no and was pressured into doing it anyway? Or did she say yes knowing well what she was doing? She said no at least 5 times to writing the card. My brother told her it wasn't optional. Not the a-hole. First, you're now her parent, so in the end, it really doesn't matter what your brother thinks should be done. Second, as the therapist is indicating, you can't punish her into liking his wife. Certainly there was behavior on your niece's part that was wrong, but simply failing to like her stepmother is not one of them. In fact, it's important to distinguish between how she feels towards someone else and how she's treating someone else. Zooming out, I suspect that your brother moved on in his relationship with his wife way too quickly. These issues should have been addressed earlier on. My brother believed everything would come together in time, and he did not want to hear anything else. I tried twice before the wedding, and he was not receptive. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not caring that my ex-husband is dead? My ex-husband and I separated 3 years ago and have 4 children together. We split after he cheated with a co-worker while I was having brain aneurysm surgery. Both marriages split, and they moved to the other side of the country where he ignored our children and didn't bother to pay child support. On or about the 3rd anniversary of us leaving, he offed himself. His affair partner, now wife, didn't even bother to let us know, and it was over a week before we heard. Even though he was a crappy husband and father, I feel so guilty that I am not sad and only think of him as a freaking coward. His parents told our oldest that he couldn't take being away from you and your brothers anymore, and then bluntly told her his manner of suicide when she was trying to find out what happened. We were originally told a different cause of death from rumors my family heard in our hometown, and they didn't tell us what happened beforehand. Am I the a-hole for not caring about his death and just being mad at him and his family? Not the a-hole. He did you and your kids dirty. You'd be the a-hole if you started dancing or encouraged your kids to celebrate his death. But on the bright side, his death means your kids should be eligible for Social Security death benefits, so you guys will be better off financially. But screw your mother-in-law for telling your kids their daddy offed himself because he missed them. BS. If he missed them, he doubtlessly knew your number to call them. His mommy probably would have pulled the money out of her butt or somehow found a way to get her boy back home if he really wanted it. He offed himself because of his own reasons. To even vaguely suggest it was over the kids makes her absolute trash. Not in the US, so I just miss out on the child support he sometimes paid, hoping I might recover some of the thousands he was behind through probate. Also, please be sure to consider additional therapy for your kids, particularly the one who heard that lie straight from the jerk mother's mouth. Not the a-hole, and it sounds like grandma and grandpa might not need to see them anymore either. I was already no contact because they reject my sons for being disabled and only want to see my daughter because she is normal. They openly admit this. I tried to facilitate a relationship between them when their dad didn't bother but had to protect my kids. Then putting the blame squarely on you and your children? I feel like it was probably mother-in-law's intention to blame you, since I imagine it was said in your face from the way the story was told. It was sent by father-in-law in a message to my oldest, which ended, "Go ask your mother." We didn't have confirmation from anything but rumors in our shared hometown before, and had been told a different cause of death. Edit to add, not in the USA, in Australia. Older sons have fortnightly telehealth psychology sessions already due to disabilities. I'm trying to find a face-to-face psychologist for the 6-year-old, and my daughter, eldest, has agreed to grief counseling. Between the comments from her grandfather and stepbrother, she is having a rough time. Thanks to everyone who has taken the time to reassure me, it has meant a lot. I guess I never really expected to not cry over him. I did love him once upon a time, or I loved who I thought he was.